You want that?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Waking Up California with Diego Martinez, candidate for Congress District 13. We are live on all social media platforms at this moment. We're also live at KPSF DB Radio, like every week, coming to you from our studios. We are 100% live today because our internet and everything seems to be functioning just fine. We have a lot of stuff to cover today. We have about 45 minutes, and one thing I want to say is thank you to everybody out there who has supported me, who has sent money to our donation pages. Your donations have gone a long way. We have got yard signs. We have literature to give to people. That's where the money's being spent at. We're starting to be on radio. We're going to start radio commercials in the area of Merced here, hopefully within the next week or so. We need your help financially, but we also need your help to like and share these videos and let other people know what we're doing and what we are about. California and the United States, we're in a time where we need change, whether we like it or not. We have got to start changing. We'll talk about some of the changes that are coming up. We'll talk about AB 2223 a little bit today because I think that's been overlooked. Nobody has really actually attacked 223 and seen what's going on. We have people who voted on the gas, repeal the gas again last week. We'll talk a little bit about the gas and where it's headed here in July because the law just changed again or the bill just changed again. So we'll talk about that. Before we get all that, I want to thank everybody who joined us last Sunday for our pancake breakfast in Tuolumne County, Sonora, California. Jack Griffin, State Senate District 4, which Tuolumne County is his district. Thank you, Jack, for coming and being here and meeting people. I want to thank everybody who actually went out and participated in it. I also want to thank Daniel Mercury, who showed up all the way from Los Angeles, all the way up to Tuolumne County for the meet and greet and just to get to know people in that county. It was great to have Daniel. You guys are looking for somebody to run for governor. Take a look at Daniel Mercury. Take a look at his values. See if you guys stand in line. There's a lot of candidates running at this moment for that. So we have got to take a better look at who we're going to pick to be in the final two to go against Gavin Newsom. It's not always about the money, but it's about somebody who's willing to fight and stand up for our freedoms and our rights. I want to invite everybody this Saturday from 11 to 3 at On Target Arms. It's a meet and greet with California Valley Patriots. I'm going to actually be there from 11 to 3. I'm going to be in the booth. I'm also going to be inside shooting a little bit. I want to invite all of you guys to come out there, come meet us, come get a feel for the candidates. This is the only time that you actually get a good feel where you can talk one-on-one. It makes a difference. What you see on video isn't always what you see in person. It's easy for somebody to be reading a prompt or reading what they want to say. Once in person, you can ask the tough questions. You can get a real reaction. I also want to invite everybody, May 14th, mark your calendars. If you're in the Modesto, Turlock, Merced area, any one of these areas in District 13, come on out May 14th. We are going to be in Modesto from 1 to 4. It's a meet and greet. It's RSVP, so make sure you RSVP. We already have about 200 people who have RSVP. We like to get a few more of you and give you the opportunity to come out. It's going to be myself and about 5 other candidates who are going to be present there. I know we have candidates running for District 5 Congress, which is some of Stanislaus, Tuolumne County, up in the foothills. They're running against Tom McClintock, so it'd be good to hear them speak. We have guys running for Senate. So those are the places you want to be at. Myself, I am going to be there. We got people running for Assembly. This is a great opportunity. I am excited about being able to be there and answering all the questions. We're going to be there from 1 to 4. We're probably going to be there a little early. Please RSVP. It is very important that there's enough seating for everybody who wants to make it. There's going to be food. There's going to be raffle prizes. This is an exciting time, and I want to thank Sandra for opening up her home and allowing us to have a platform where we can meet all of you, for allowing us to have a platform to connect with the people. I also want to thank Wendy Maldonado, for the interview. It's in Spanish. If you guys want to go back on my pages or hers, it's a great interview that we did in Spanish about what we're going to change and when we become in Congress. So if you guys have a chance, if you're bilingual, go on Wendy Maldonado's page or go on my page and watch the interview. We're also going to be down south this month. I will put all the details for anybody down south that are going to be in the LA area, Orange area. Come on out. We're actually going to have a town hall meeting. I'm actually going to be there because it is important when you're running for Congress that you connect with the American people. Yes, the people of my district is probably the most important because they need to elect me into office, but I also want the people of the United States and California to know they have somebody, their voice, somebody who's going to represent everybody. My door will never be closed. I don't care what district. Why? Because your problem is a California problem. It's something we need to address. We need to address kids with disability. We need to address SSI. We need to address law enforcement. We need to address what is going on in our country and in our state. So you can't just say, hey, you're not in my district, it's not going to work. No, because your problems are our problems and we need to come together. Oil companies reporting record earnings due to higher fuel prices. Biden seemed to be have been right about oil companies profiting from the higher fuel prices they are charging us consumers. Brian, we're actually going to talk about that here in a little bit. What is going on with, especially in the state of California. For those of you guys that don't see, my new t-shirts are in. If you guys would like a t-shirt, come to one of our events. They're absolutely free. While supplies last, you can come and get one of our t-shirts. If you're going to be there on May 14th and you're going to be there supporting me, if you DM us, we'll make sure that we have a t-shirt for you for that day. Make sure that you wear it to show your support for Diego Martinez for Congress, District 13. I want to thank everybody who's actually listening to us on KPSF DB Radio this morning. And if you're on social media, thank you for joining. Let's get the show started. Please leave your comments, questions, anything that you need on the bottom. Don't forget there's also a donation for my page, always on the links here. And if you can financially help us, please like and share my videos. Invite your friends to watch because that is the most help that we can get to get our name out and be able to make a difference come June 7th. A lot of you guys have gotten these. If you guys look at this, let me see if I get an up-close look. This is your voter's guide. This is the one here in Merced. Beautiful thing. My name's right on top, Diego Martinez. That is great for us. We're looking forward and excited for June 7th. We have more yard signs for all of you guys in Winton and Atwater who haven't gotten yours yet. We have not forgotten. We've just been extremely busy, but this week you will be getting all your yard signs and all the signs around town. We have 5 counties to cover, and we've been tremendously working extremely hard. I want to thank my team in Fresno, my team in the Central Valley that have gone out and put out numerous signs everywhere. Down on the South 99 bound, there's my signatures out on 99 right now, and I just want to say thank you to my team for going out there and putting out the hard work. And I want to thank all of you who have asked for yard signs. It is an honor to actually be able to put a yard sign in your yard and have your support. Let's start talking about what's going on in this world. We talked a little bit about AB 2223. Does anybody know what AB 2223 is? Well, if you don't know what it is, this is an abortion and COVID protection law. It's kind of weird. So I'm going to get into it just a little bit. I want to break it down more next week. I want to give people an opportunity to actually look it up so we can actually have meaningful discussion on what this is, the pros and the cons. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this on the news, but it says that Gavin Newsom's going to make California a sanctuary state for abortions. Whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, that's got to worry you. Because if this does happen, I know a lot of you guys have been watching this a lot on the news, Wade versus Roe, what's going on with that, Supreme Court overturning it, not overturning it, there's still decisions about that. So however you feel, I don't want to get into pro-life, pro-choice thing today. I'll read what the law is stating, and then you can make up your own decisions. But one of the worst things is if we become a sanctuary state for abortions, we're going to get people from other states coming in here trying to have abortions in our state. Guess who gets to pay for that? Yeah, the California taxpayer. That's not good at all. We have got to time down on Planned Parenthood and make it plant preventhood so that our kids get more educated and our young adults. Abortion should never be a sense of birth control. That's not what it was meant for. I'm not going to get into either life. Most of you guys know I'm pro-life, I'm pro-adoption. We need to do actually better stuff to be able to have adoption a little bit better. I was reading through the latest amended version of AB 223 this morning. And Brian, what did you think of it? I want to give everybody an opportunity to actually go home and do a little research. So this is what I gathered from it, and I'll just give you guys a brief overview of it. Coroners will not longer be able to actually investigate a stillborn child. So if the mother did something to cause that child's death before it was born, they will no longer be prosecuted. There are 2 women in Madera who are actually getting prosecuted for something happening during this will protect people like that. So a coroner should be able to investigate what happened. What was the death? That's the coroner's job. They should be able to actually be able to give us an explanation on why. Whether the child was stillborn or aborted, we should know what is going on. We have the right to protect life. That being said, it also, to investigate, it will not hold women liable for the death of a child during their pregnancy if they did something wrong. So I'm not talking about a woman who just falls down the stairs by accident. But if you unpurposely inflict damage to the child, at this moment they can actually get charged because of negligence. If this bill passes, it will no longer be negligence, it will be nothing. We'll just move on. That's not a good way. It's confusing due to the verbiage, but basically it gives the mother and anyone assisting immunity from prosecution on an abortion. This is laws that we got to look at. Are they humane? Are they right? Well, we don't know. But here's my bigger question. Where's your assembly people? Even if someone that has had an abortion, these women that are glorifying it like it's something to be liberating, it's just so sad. Abortion is so damaging and dangerous mentally and physically. I agree with you 100%. We have a fine line here. And now I'm walking in some water here with what I'm going to say next. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-adoption. Is an abortion a medical procedure? Should the state or the government have anything to do with it? Where is their fine line where they're overstepping on your medical freedom and your medical rights? I get it from both sides. Telling young girls that something good is so dangerous, 100%. I don't believe that anybody should be preaching that abortion is anything good. So because we have all this that's going on, what can we really do about it? And where should we really stand? Wade versus Roe might get overturned, or they're working on it. They'll open up a big can of worms. But are we already in there? Are we already in that sinkhole? This is something that I like everybody, if you're out there listening, to go take a look at, and let's do a little bit of homework. Next week, we're going to re-pick up this topic of AB 2223. So it has 3 2s and a 3 at the end. It's AB, Assembly Bill. Also want to ask you this. How many of you guys have heard anybody really talk about it? Or is it getting swept under the rug? That is dangerous. Because a lot of bills that come out of our Assembly and our Senate in the state of California get swept right under the rug and nobody even knows about it. Then they become law and we're like, hey, how did this happen? Now, we talked about that just a little bit. I don't want to get too much into it. I want you guys to do a little research, and we'll meet here next week, same time, same bat channel, and we'll discuss it, and we'll figure out the good, the bad, and where it should go, and what we, as citizens, need to do to stop some of these rules and laws going into effect. The 1973 ruling on Roe versus Wade was an overreach by the Superior Court, and it is unconstitutional. It should be overturned on that basis alone. Good point. Anybody have a different point? What I like about my shows is that I know where I feel, but I also want everybody who's watching or listening to be able to put their inputs on here. Why? Because that's great discussion. We don't need to be heated about it. We all have a point and a stand that we need to stand behind, right? We were actually talking about the Constitution the other day and how it is perceived. The law is perceived by who's reading it. The law has two sides. So when we put out something like this, I like intelligent conversation from both angles. Why? Because we all get a feel for where everybody's at. We're not all the same. Doesn't mean that my values or my beliefs are going to get swayed. It just means that I like to hear the opposition on what is going on. Let's talk a little bit about gas, because that seems to be on everybody's mind. The cost of living, the economy. Are we headed into a recession? Because that's what we hear every day lately. Sure would like to see the pro-abortion activists spend more time educating young girls, women about many choices if contraceptive available to them today. I agree with you, Calabunga, sorry. I agree with you. I think there should be more choices and more education available. Isn't that what Planned Parenthood should have done? That's something that we have to take a better look at, and we got to see which way we want to go with that. But it's something that, again, we'll bring up next week. We'll talk about the subject. I'm going to try to get a couple people to come on with me next week who want to discuss this, pro, negative. I think it's a topic that we need to talk about, but in a civil way. Hey, Diego, need to get people to make comments today on SB 886. It's today at 11 a.m. SB Senate Bill 866. That is coming up today. People need to call, and I'm not as familiar with it as I should be. So if you want to put a little bit of comments about what it's about, I will look it up here in a few minutes, and we'll try to bring that up. Yes, on that, and more aggressive legislation against crime of rape and incest. Man, do you guys see what one bill could lead? We have so many topics to talk about next week. We'll talk about aggressiveness on legislation against crimes of rape and incest, because some people justify abortions by that. Is that right or wrong? Ursula, get down. You guys can see Ursula's back in the picture. Just like every week, she has to come on the show, right? We'll talk about this legislation, how we can fix it, how we can help, good and bad. We'll get a couple people on this. If somebody out there can really Google SB 866 real quick and kind of give us an idea of what it is and why we need to take a better look at it, we'll do that right now. Also, when we go on commercial break here in a few minutes, let's talk about gas, because that seems to be everybody's hot topic right now. Why? Because when you go out, you're almost paying $100 to drive your Honda Accord these days. $100 to fill up. Okay, so exist if it weren't for a row line about rape. All right, see, so next week we have a lot to talk about when it comes, and we'll bring up Wade versus Roe, and we'll bring up everything on it. So join next week, because that's going to be a really hot topic, and I'm going to clear probably 45 minutes next week so we can actually discuss it, break it down, and talk about what's going on with that. Gas. That's where I'm headed. Sorry, guys. Got a little scatterbrain here. So what's going on with gas in the state of California? Right now, when you go out, you're almost paying $7 a gallon. Well, buckle your seatbelts, guys, because come July 1st, it is actually going to increase by 53 cents. 52.3% cents is going to go up per gallon in the state of California. Why? Because our beautiful assembly had an opportunity again for the third time to repeal the increase in gas tax, and they voted that they wanted to leave it the same. Here's the shame, and here's the worst part. Assemblymen who cannot show up and not respect you enough to vote. That is worse than a vote no. You don't even have enough to hop on your computer, go to work, and vote. It is a disgrace. It is a disgrace to call you an assemblyman. We pay you to go out and vote. We pay you to be our voice. Adam Gray, I'm calling you out again for a no vote, no show to vote. What the hell is wrong with you? You want to go to Congress. You want to be the congressman for District 13. Yeah, you can't show up as an assemblyman and vote. Yeah, you vote conservative when it benefits you. You vote conservative so the conservative people will vote for you. I'll give you this. You did a lot of good help with law enforcement in Stanislaus County. You helped the sheriff there get a lot of the stuff passed in assembly. But the people of your district right now are starving. They're hurting. And even if your vote didn't count, at least you could have shown that you stood with the people of your district. But instead, you didn't do crap. I called you out on it. Modesto B, Fresno B interview, I called you out on it. And you said no comment. Of course you don't have a comment. You want to look at your voting record? I wish we could. But you're an absentee voter. You don't show up to vote. So if you're doing that here, what are you going to do for us in Congress? Absolutely nothing. And it's a shame. You want the job for a paycheck. You don't want the job because you want to serve the people of your district. And you have proven it time and time again, because in your assembly district, you don't show up to vote. You'd rather just be an absentee voter. And guess what? I am calling you out on it. And next time I see you in Madera, I'll call you out on it again. Why? Because you're not doing your job, sir. And there's no reason why we should promote you. There's 5 of us running in the same race. Win, lose, or draw. As long as Adam Gray doesn't win, I'm okay. Because I hate to send another person into Congress that's not going to do anything. That's what we're facing. How can you not show up to vote? How can you not respect the people who pay your salary and show up to vote, even though you know that your vote wouldn't have counted towards anything? You could have voted yes, let's repeal this. It wouldn't have changed the vote, but at least it would have shown the people of your district that you at least give a damn about showing up and voting. But instead, your whole history of being an assemblyman has been a no-show. So no-show Gray. Don't vote. No-show Gray. Because that's what you are. No-show Gray. I'm calling you out. I don't care. I have absolutely nothing to lose. I'm not worried about statures. I'm not worried about what the Republican Party or anybody thinks about me. What I'm worried about is what the California people and the people of District 13 believe in me. What I'm talking about is, with me, you're going to get the truth, and you're going to get somebody who's actually going to go there and fight for you. No, I'm not going to be politically correct, but I'm going to be politically correct for the people of my district. And that's what we need. We have got to stop putting the vanilla candidate in office who goes there and then goes back to their office and wants to be a keyboard warrior. I called you out on our debate. Next time I see you, I'm going to call you right back out on it. Why? Because everybody needs to know that you're no-show Gray. And if you're not showing in assembly, you're not going to show up in Congress. You're going to side with the left. You're never going to side with the right. That's just not what you do. You side with the right when it benefits you, when you want to look like something. And I'm disgusted by the Republicans who have actually endorsed you. But I understand why some of them did it. I understand that you have came to the aid of Stanislaus County Sheriff when they needed help to get bills passed. I'll give you credit for where it's due. But I also call you out on your bullshit of you not showing up and voting. I don't care whether you agree or disagree with the bill. You vote, because that's what we pay you to do. We pay you to go out there and be our voice, and you have failed us, sir. And there's no need for you to go to Congress. there really is no even need for you to be in assembly anymore. Does Congress have any power and influence to bring law and order to jails and punish drugs and traffickers, put in order to have the law enforcement find and save traffic victims? Okay. We'll get to that here in a minute of what Congress can and can't do. Our gas is going to go up July 1st because of guys like Adam Gray who cannot show up to vote. Kevin Kiley even showed up to vote. Not one of my favorite people, but at least he showed up to vote, and he showed up to vote to repeal it. If you guys don't, and this is something you guys will learn about me, I actually put the facts. So if you guys go back on my Facebook page, my Instagram page, you will actually see the facts of what I'm talking about. You will actually see where we are at with their voting records, because it's all public knowledge, so you can actually go look. So when I say no vote Gray, you guys could go actually look and see what I'm talking about. He's been absentee. He doesn't show up to vote. He doesn't care. Only time he shows up is when his vote doesn't count. And guess what, Adam? You should have showed up to vote to reduce the cash tag. It probably wouldn't have made a difference, but it would have made us in your district feel a lot better about you standing up for us. We need to ask Newsom why his budget allocates no funds for combining sex trafficking issues in the new budget. We'll get to that here after commercial break. I have to take a commercial break right now for KPSF DB Radio and or our social media. Diego Martinez, candidate for Congress, District 13 in Waking Up, California, where both parties have failed us. We're open for discussion. We are biased, and we will talk about the main issues, what's going on here, what's going on in the United States, and what we need to change. We'll be back in just about 30 seconds. This is Diego Martinez, Waking Up, California. For those of you guys listening to us on the internet, give us a few minutes. We will be right back. I'll be more than happy to discuss. We're going to talk about Wade versus Roe. We're going to talk about AB 223 next week. So I want to invite all of you guys to come on in. Why? Because that is going to be an intense conversation. I am also going to try to get people from the other side to come in and actually tell us where they're thinking. I want a civil conversation because that gives information. Sometimes differences could be made as we speak together, pro versus cons on what's going on. Newsom hides, he doesn't show up for anything, but with what benefits him and his pocket, yet he is trying to run again for his failed position. We need to ask Newsom why. We just talked about that. And we'll talk a little bit about Congress. We got about another 15 minutes when we come back from break. So we will try to get all this put in place. Again, if you guys are listening on the internet, I would like to invite everybody May 14th. Meet and greet. It's going to be in Modesto from 1 to 4. Sandra has opened up their yard, their house for all of us, for all of you, to actually be able to get the answers back from candidates and actually be able to interview candidates. We have about 5 main candidates speaking. Myself will be one of them, but there will also be candidates in attendance that you can actually get their literature and actually talk to them and get a feel for who is a best choice for all of you guys out there. So here we are back. Thank you everybody for joining us. We are back here on KPSF DB Radio and all internet sources, social media. We are out with Diego Martinez, candidate for Congress District 13, and this is Waking Up California. Both parties have failed the American people and especially the California people. We have just discussed a numerous amount of information from AB 223, which we will come back next week and we will discuss. We will set up a 30-minute segment where we can talk about AB 223, Wade versus Roe. I want to invite everybody and anybody who has opinions on both sides of this aisle to come on in. Let's have some good discussion. You can leave your comments on the bottom. We have talked about the gas tax going up in July. 52.1 cents, so it's basically 53 more cents that we will be paying at the pump. Why are we doing that? I'm going to run into that just for a second, and then we're going to answer some of the questions that have came in live. We're going to talk about what Congress can and can't do in a local level. We're going to talk about whose responsibility is on a local level to be able to actually break some of the laws that are happening in California. We will also talk a little bit here on SB 866, which is very important to all of us. That's actually getting voted on today. So if you're actually out there listening, call your friends, call your neighbors. I'm going to get into that right away because it is a very important decision. You guys need to go, and hopefully No Show Gray will actually show up and vote no. SB 866 is where a minor under the age of 12 has the right, 12 and under, has the right to actually be able to consent to the vaccination without their parents' authority or without their knowledge of their parents. Call your assembly people, write them an email. No. Kids are kids, adults are adults. We are their parents. We should have the right. This is government overreach in trying to put it into law. This stuff needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. But you got to ask yourself this: who's my assemblyman? How come they didn't send me an email? How come they didn't tell us? How come this isn't on television or the news? What the heck is going on with our country where we're saying that a 12-year-old has the right to consent as an adult? Yeah, a 12-year-old cannot go to war tomorrow. A 12-year-old cannot buy a gun. A 12-year-old cannot even dress themselves. Shoot, there was a time when a 12-year-old sat at home alone and you went to jail over it. So how do you expect a 12-year-old to be able to make decisions? This is insane. Government overreach on our parental rights needs to stop. We need to get the right people in assembly. So I'm going to move right into that next question. What can Congress do in a local level towards law enforcement and towards our safety? The reality is this: your sheriff is a county sheriff. He's elected by the people of the county. So he's an elected official. He has the right, and a constitutional governor would actually stand up for the freedom of people. We saw that during COVID-19, where the county and everybody was telling him, go find these people, arrest these people for not having a mask. They said, no, we're not doing it. That's a constitutional sheriff who actually knows their authority. A sheriff has probably the most biggest, broadest authority of anybody in your county. So that's why it's so important that we elect the right people to be your sheriff, because they can actually go and follow the law by the Constitution of the United States or the California Constitution, but they also have a moral right to do the right thing if they're a constitutional sheriff. So what can somebody in Congress do? We can actually, when we send money for the state to protect itself, we can actually require certain things. But in a day-to-day basis, who you need to talk to is this. If you're in the city limits and it's a city PD, so when you say Ceres Police Department, Modesto Police Department, they are actually ran by the mayor. The mayor is the one who actually controls and has the most influence, or city council has the most influence of what your department and city does. County council can encourage the sheriff to do certain things and give them a budget to be able to run their county. So when you're talking about local levels, your assembly, your state senate, they're the ones who actually make your local laws, which your sheriff and your chief of police. But if you want to get even further than that and you want real results, go to your city council if it's a police, and go to county council if it's something with the sheriff's department that you want to change. These are elected people. These are the people that you put into office. These are the people that can actually help. Now, what Congress can do is protect our borders. We can protect and what international laws or United States laws against human trafficking, where they get fined or punished by what you call federal law, not state law. So we can actually help when it comes to border security, sex trafficking, and drugs coming into our country. That is something that Congress can do, and that is something that I am going to work for, to make sure that anybody who's doing federal laws, breaking human trafficking laws, and we will punish them to the full effect. There's another one here that Congress can do. All of you guys heard about Biden's son, laptop, porn, having sex with children. Guess what? That might not be illegal in China, but that laptop is illegal in the United States. That's considered having child porn on your device. That classifies you as a pedophile. Why has Biden's son not been arrested? Because if you have a laptop and you're at home today and you're watching child porn, somebody finds out, you're going to jail. Why haven't we done that to Biden's son? That is actually a law that's being broken in multiple states. Because you're crossing from one state to the other, it can actually be a federal offense. So if you're sitting in Congress today and you're listening, start looking at that. Because when I get into Congress, that's the first thing I'm going to look at. How we're going to get Hunter Biden in jail, in prison for child pornography, because you're moving it. You may not have done it here in the United States, which we don't have control of what you do in China, unless you were at the United States Embassy doing it. But guess what? The minute that laptop hit the United States grounds, you're breaking American law. And you should be punished, just like every other pedophile, because that's having child porn on your computer. We have seen the pictures. They have released it. Why is he not in custody? That has got to stop. See, now that's something Congress can do. Congress can investigate under the grounds of a pedophile. That's the stuff that we need to look at. And that's the stuff that I'm going to dig into. I'm going to make sure that we break the good old boy and clean the swamp. I might not be the most popular person in Congress. Not for them, because I'm going to go after everybody who's breaking the law. Why? Because Congress is not above the law. Presidents are not above the law. They try to do that with President Trump, right? They impeached him 3 times. They say he's not above the law. Yeah, the president right now, sitting president right now, we know that his son has child porn on his computer. And we're looking the other way? No, that's not going to happen. Because that is actually breaking the United States laws. And that's breaking California. I know in California that's against the law. So why isn't he being punished? Why aren't we going after him? So that's going to change when I get into Congress. We're going to make sure that Congress abides by the same laws that every American has to, because we are not above the law. I'm also going to fight for your Second Amendment. I'm going to fight for a real Second Amendment. I'm not talking about the carry conceal, because that's not your Second Amendment. Your Second Amendment states a well-armed militia should not be infringed on. Do we remember those words on the Second Amendment? Should not be infringed on. Well, unfortunately, that started getting infringed on back in the Western days, when Wyatt Earp used to tell people you cannot carry your gun in our cities. You have to surrender your guns to the sheriff's office. That's where they start infringing in our rights, in our Second Amendment. We need to go back. We need to fix this. We need to actually stay as a constitutional country. The Constitution of the United States is the law of the land. There's God. God is the law of all of us. But God also states you must honor and obey the law of the land, which is the Constitution of the United States, which is getting trampled on every day. So we need to stand up for that. We've got a few more minutes, so we're going to get going. This Newsom hides he doesn't show up for anything with that doesn't benefit his pockets, and he's trying to rerun again. Gavin Newsom is trying to rerun again. Okay? Gavin Newsom is running again, so we got to watch out when he's running. We got to see who's our best candidate for governor right now. There's a lot of names being thrown out there. The only thing I can tell you guys is do your research, stand behind the person, share and like their videos, share and like their names, get their name out there so other people know. One of the worst things the California Republican Party has done is prematurely endorsed anybody. Nobody should be endorsed till the primaries. We saw what happened with John Cox and Travis Allen. Before we got to the primaries, they endorsed John Cox, killed every opportunity that Travis Allen had to actually run against Gavin Newsom. So for me, endorsements are great. I enjoy endorsements. I appreciate them, but I'm not going after endorsements. I'm going after California voters. I believe that California people need to stand together because both parties have failed us, and we need to hold that. Politics need to be held accountable. Say what they mean and mean what they say. Be held accountable with such words. And again, I agree with you, and that's one of the things that I want to be able to change, going in there where the law stands for everybody. If you promise something, you need to do it. How many in the public sector lost or were laid off during the last 2 years because of COVID-19, like private sectors? Tim, a lot of people were, you know what's wrong with that, Tim? People who were laid off, or even businesses. This I never understand, so you guys got to help me out here a little bit. You owned a restaurant. You were shut down. People were trying to give you business, and you couldn't do it. Some people that opened up the restaurants, we were going in there illegally, or whatever you want to call it, because we wanted to support you. But why would you ask us for a vaccination card when the government opens back up and tells you that you need to? So you're slapping the people in the face who try to keep you in business when the government wouldn't help you, and now you want to be the police for the government. That's a shame. That destroyed a lot of businesses, and it's still not helping, especially in the Bay Area right now. where you can't go into a restaurant unless you show a vaccination ID. Isn't that infringing on your medical freedom and your medical rights? You don't have to go in there and disclose that you have cancer. You don't have to go in there and disclose that you have diabetes and their food might kill you. But you have to go in and disclose if you have a vaccination or not. You don't need my business that bad. And hopefully there's enough sheep out there that can keep your business in place, because even after you remove it, I will no longer eat at your establishment. Because I was the guy out there going to city halls and county councils and fighting for you to be able to be open. For you to tell me that I need a vaccination card to get in here and see you. You want to violate my medical freedoms. I'm okay without that. Because Daddy President has corrupt connections. We are actually going to fix that. If I get into Congress, I am going to go after Hunter Biden. I'm going to go after the laptop. I'm going to go after him for child pornography, and we're going to sentence him to the max amount that it can be. If anybody's listening and they don't like it, I don't care. If you saw a pedophile today on their corner, have you guys looked at Megan's List lately? There's a pedophile in every corner. Yeah, they're getting released from jail right now. They're getting released from prison. I need everybody who's running for Senate and Assembly in the state of California to have these words: repeal Prop 47 and 57. Those are the two worst laws that we ever put inside, that we have allowed people to commit crimes and not do anything. Cooks aren't disclosing when they have, right? People aren't disclosing if they have AIDS or hepatitis or anything, but we have to disclose whether we went and got a vaccination. That's bullshit. I need everybody out here to actually start paying attention to what's going on in the Senate races and what's going on in the Assembly races, because those are the people that are making the laws that we here in California have to abide by. So one of the worst things is when somebody's running for Congress and they're talking about water. We can get you all this water. We can do this. Well, the water's already set aside. The money's set aside in the state of California. I need assemblymen and senators, guys that are running for California Senate, to actually push Gavin Newsom to actually use that money and put water storage where that money's meant for, not put in a slush fund. It's been sitting there since Governor Brown. Why aren't we doing something about it? Because your assemblymen and your senators don't want to talk about water. They'd say, oh, ask the guy who's running for Congress. Well, guess what? The guy running for Congress doesn't have much to say about it. McCarthy and Trump already took care of that. So now it's the people who are running in lower end offices, Assembly and Senate, that need to talk about water and need a promise that they're going to go and pull against Gavin Newsom and get us the water, the money for the water storage that we deserve. Here's another one. I am actually signed up, and I'm a firm believer that everybody should have term limits. Right now we can say we have term limits, you just don't vote for the person. But I'm talking about real constitutional term limits. I am willing to write the amendment to make sure that people in Congress have a term limit for public service. Nobody should be in there as long as Pelosi, Waters, McCarthy, Tom McClintock. These are lifelong politicians. You guys ever looked at that? McClintock is a lifelong politician. The same people that we're saying we don't want in office, but we're going to re-vote him in. Oh, because they're a Republican, it makes right. No, it's not. Because it's not. This is not about that. This is about our freedoms. This is about term limits and actually getting people in there who are actually familiar with what's going on in today's world, not what happened in 1950, 1960. We're in 2021. And we don't have people that represent 2021, 2022, the 21st century, sorry. We don't have people that represent us. And that's why we're losing a battle. I just got notice that Jack Griffin, Senate District 4, will actually be with us on Saturday at Targets and Arms in Modesto from 11 to 3. Jack, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Anybody else who wants to come out there, come on out, come join us. Vanessa, good morning. Good morning to everybody who's joining us. We are almost out of time here. If I missed anything, I'm going to scroll down through the stuff here. Remember, these restaurants when next Pamex hit, no business from me. Who was the senator who recently passed away? He was in office for 43 years. Here's the worst part. Most of us don't even know who our assemblyman is, let alone who our senators are. So I will look that up for you, Brian. Senator passed away, 43 years in office. Here's a kicker for all of you guys. Did you guys know McClintock was in state, California, politics for 22 years, one of the longest sitting Republicans in state office before he became a congressman 14 years ago? Is that a career politician? Is that a career politician? Of course it is. But we're talking about Pelosi. We're talking about Democrats. Look, guys, it's both sides. If McClintock hasn't changed anything in 14 years, what makes you think he's going to change something in the next 2 years? Other than his paycheck. So I'm 100% for term limits. And I will get into Congress and I will write the amendment in the Constitution for term limits. Term limits. I'm for it. I don't want to be a career politician. I never want to be a politician. I got pushed into politics by Governor Brown, who wanted to destroy my whole industry. They wanted to take my job out. 10,000 of us were going to lose our jobs, our careers, our businesses. Because a governor felt we were no longer needed. That is not the freedoms that America has built. That's why I'm in politics. Anybody want to know why? Because they wanted to take my job away from me. They wanted to take my business, my savings, everything I had ever worked for. They wanted to take my livelihood away. And I said, enough is enough. And I awoke. Because before this, I was just like a lot of people. Didn't know who was who. Didn't care who was who. Didn't even care what was going on. Now, I am doing my part to awaken and tell the truth about what's going on. Not always the most popular answer, but it's the truth. The one thing you know about me, I'm telling you the truth, whether you like it or not. Why? Because that's who I am. I don't want to give you campaign lyric just to get put into office and not be able to keep my promises. We remember the saying, promises made, promises kept. What is going on with that? Who was the last person that actually said it and actually kept it? That is what we should be doing. Politics isn't a life business. It's a civil service. And that's the kind of people that we need in office. Maxing out decades, did serve to their Democratic communities. Man, we can talk about Democrats, we can talk about Republicans, but the reality of this, both parties have failed the American people. Both parties have allowed this to get out of hand. It is time that we take our country back, take control of our state, and actually go by God's laws and the Constitution of the United States from here forward. The American dream is well alive, but we need to show people that the American dream is still there, that you're gasping for something, that you're fighting for something. It's not socialism. It's not a handout. It's about building, creating. Another thing about death, I don't want to know how many people show up to my funeral. What I want to know is that I affected people's life in a positive way, and I brought growth to their world. That is your legacy. Your legacy is not a building. It's not a business. Your legacy is how many lives you affected in a positive and changed their future. That's what life is about. And that's what I'm about. Trying to make a legacy of helping and growing people. I have hired thousands of people when I was in the car business. The most rewarding thing I've ever gotten was when somebody calls you and say, thank you. What you taught me, let me hear. I didn't agree with you then, but I could see where you were. That's a legacy that I want to leave behind. To me, Ronald Reagan left a legacy when he helped my family and millions of other people with immigration and making it easier for us to be able to be legal in this country. I want to do what Ronald Reagan did and be able to pay it forward. I'm not talking about handouts. I'm not talking about free. I'm not talking about people not working. I'm talking about an opportunity for something better. We, as Christians, as people who believe in God, believe in the Ten Commandments, we believe in doing what's right. Love thy neighbor. We need to bring those values back into politics. We need to have people in politics who care about who we are. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Diego Martinez, candidate for Congress, District 13, on the air at KPSF DB Radio, and want to join you guys on all social media networks. Please like and share my page. I will be more than honored for all of you guys to show up this Saturday at Target and Arms in Modesto. I am looking forward to meeting, and it's my honor when you guys come up and talk to me. It's an honor just to be able to have conversation with you and tell you where my platform and where I sit. May 14th, Sandra Williams, thank you for opening up your home to me and the rest of the candidates that will be there, and to our public, so we have a platform to express our values. Please like and share my page. Let all your friends know Diego Martinez is the choice for District 13. If you can and you find it in you where you can donate, please go to the link underneath and donate. We need your help. We need to put out on-air commercials so we can get our voices out. Anything helps. And if you can't help financially, please go on here and go to Team Diego at DiegoMartinezForCongress.com and volunteer to help us hand out more flyers, put out more yard signs. And for those of you in the city of Winton that have not gotten your yard sign, it's coming this week. I promise. That's where I'm going to focus on getting you guys your yard signs. People in Modesto, Stanislaus County, Madera, Los Baños, Santanella, thank you for allowing us to have our yard signs in your properties. People in Kalinga, man, I am so grateful. I am so grateful for the team that we've been able to assemble for Congress to be able to get all this out. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Diego Martinez, candidate for Congress, District 13, on KPSF DB Radio and all the social media networks that say Diego for Cali 2022. We will see you guys next week, and thank you for joining us.